Hello, today I'm going to talk about your cookware being toxic. Now you might think you've got this one figured out, but you are likely to be missing something. So a couple things I want to talk about is enamel cookware, crock pots, why you should never use them or any sort of enamel cookware, and simple and affordable solution that you can use for cookware, and how to make that non-stick cookware without it being toxic. So a decade ago, I was hired by a company to research cookware toxicity. And so I went into all the peer-reviewed literature and looked at all the science and everything else. And I learned some really interesting things about cookware that was really surprising to me. The most surprising thing was that the most common cookware that all the health-conscious people think that is super healthy, like the Le Creuset enamel-lined cookware, is supposed to be non-toxic. But when you think about it, it's lined with enamel. Well, what's enamel? Do they get that from tree sap? Nope, it's toxic soup. I looked up the MSDS, which is a material safety data sheets for enamel for the most popular brands, and I looked at the ingredients, the most common ingredients, and it was horrible, horrible toxic. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, okay, it might be toxic and my crock pot might be toxic too. You know, it might be coated with that stuff, but it's baked on there. So it doesn't leach. It's fine. It's baked on there, right? It's good. Well, you can do your own little test, and it'll cost you about 10 to 20 bucks to do, and you will find this out for yourself. All you do is get, it's called a TDS meter. They use it in the water purification business to tell how many parts per million of floaties, that's the technical term, are in the water. Parts per million of whatever particles are in the water. So you get some distilled water, and it's usually about 0. So you get a gallon of distilled water, put it in your crock pot overnight, test it before you start with your TDS meter, turn it on overnight, and then when I did it, I came back and it was 9. Now, I had the lid on it so it didn't boil off, so it wasn't a reduction. It was 9 parts per million of enamel from just on simmer. Just on simmer. Now imagine you take a Le Creuset, I mean, I'm not against that brand, there's a lot of different brands like that, but you take one of their saucepans and then heat it up to 400 degrees and cook on it. You can imagine toxin migration. If you remember the last video was, or one of the previous videos, what toxin migration is directly proportional to heat. So the hotter it gets, the faster the toxins migrate. So I do not recommend using any of those cookwares, despite very common, very popular people in the health and wellness field recommending it. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you cook your precious food that you ingest on toxic enamel? It just doesn't make any sense. So what I did find out, let me just check my notes to make sure I'm saying in order. Let me back up just a little bit. The couple things you do want to avoid, if you haven't figured this out, you definitely want to avoid any sort of Teflon or non-stick. Any sort of non-stick cookware, especially Teflon, you can look that up. Most of you probably know that. But the other non-stick gimmick ones, they're loaded with toxic chemicals as well. And if you don't believe me, just contact the manufacturer and say what coating is on it and how can I get the material safety data sheet on it. And then look that up in the toxic ingredient dictionary, look it up online, and you'll see that those are all made out of toxins. But don't worry, I will show you how to make really good cookware non-stick that is non-toxic. So you want to avoid the non-stick cookware. The other thing you want to do is you want to avoid aluminum cookware. A basic rule is if something's banned in an entire country, you probably shouldn't use it. And aluminum cookware is banned in several countries and several areas in Europe. So the way you check to see if your cookware is aluminum is you get a magnet. And if the magnet sticks, then it's stainless steel, which is fine. If it doesn't stick, then it's aluminum and you need to get rid of it. So the very best cookware that there is in terms of not migrating toxins is stainless steel. That's it. Good old stainless steel cookware. You want to get a quality brand, but you don't have to spend a lot of money. And that's it. They do not migrate toxins. Now, there is a little bit of evidence that when you first get them that they might migrate a little bit, and so you can boil some vinegar in it or whatever, and that will actually get rid of just the surface level metals that are loose. But you can test that and you will find, and the research shows, that stainless steel is really the cleanest, best cookware that you can use. So the question is then, okay, I have a good set of stainless steel cookware. You can use glass as well. Glass is a clean option as long as there isn't lead in the glass, but even then I'm not sure how much of it migrates. But glass doesn't heat up very quickly. There's not a very good thermal transfer. It's hard to clean. It's hard to make non-stick. I mean, it does work, but it's also hard to find. So I recommend stainless. It's really the best cookware that you can get. So to make it non-stick, there's an old saying called hot pan, cold oil is non-stick. So here's what I do, is I take the pan and I heat it up, and I have a little bowl of water. And then I put a couple drops on the pan as it's heating up. If it simmers off, if it steams off, then the pan is not hot enough. You want to wait till it gets hot enough that the little beads of water dance on the surface. They'll actually, it's kind of cool. They just move around on the surface. Then I know the pan is hot enough. Then you put the oil on there. So the saying is hot pan, cold oil, non-stick. You can Google it and you'll find instructions on it. So the pan's hot. The oil, dump some coconut oil on there. Unrefined is, or refined actually I think is the best. I'm trying to remember which one. But I dump that on there. And then I've even cooked sourdough pancakes, which are the stickiest thing imaginable. And if you do it just right, it is completely non-stick. So that is the way you can make your cookware non-stick and have it totally clean stainless steel. Now, what about your crock pot? What are you going to do there? What you do there is you invest in one of the best products that you'll see on Amazon, and I don't have any affiliation with them. It's called the Instant Pot. And it is a like 7-in-1. It's a slow cooker. It's a pressure cooker. It's like 7 different products in one. You cook rice, all sorts of things. And it has a stainless steel liner that comes out. So it's perfectly clean. It's super convenient. It's programmable. It's awesome. And it's like a little over $100. So now, instead of cooking your food and getting 9 parts per million of a toxic enamel or Teflon or aluminum or any of those toxins, you can now use stainless steel cookware and have a much cleaner, non-toxic cooking experience. And of course, the burden of toxins you have from your previous cookware or going out to eat when you go to a restaurant, of course they use aluminum cookware, you can sweat out in the sauna. So I hope that helps. Please leave your comments below. Have a great day.